All right, y'all. We know that we all go through this cycle. Each and every strand of hair, each and every skin particle, our organs, our cells, everything is always constantly regenerating. Almost as soon as one hair dies, another hair starts to grow in, and it pushes out the old hair, and it keeps on going on this same old cycle. So this cycle is called the growing phase. It's actually called the anagen. It's when the first emerging hair strand starts to pop out, the old one pushes it out, and then that lasts for a good 6 years. So I drew up this diagram up here to show these phases that we all go through. It's represented by these 3 phases, these arrows, and I want to say that this is stage 1, where the hair continues to grow for about 6 years, or 5 to 6 years, depending on how fast that hair grows. So you wonder how we can have long locks, or it's because it's this millions of strands of hairs and follicles that are there, and some follicles can even grow 3 strands out of one follicle. And also our hair grows a ½ inch every month, so it can continue on even longer to this point, but it has to go through what we call a dying phase. And that dying phase is basically called catagen. We call this arrow down here catagen, and this is anagen. So at the end of that anagen stage, we can get to the point of stage 2. We represent that as stage 2. And it continues on because it lasts for about 1 to 6 weeks. And this is when at the end of that 6 weeks, it finally detaches away from that papilla that we talked about. The papilla is in this area here, and this is going to last for about 1 to 6 weeks. And we're almost to the point where we're balding. Almost to the point where these follicles are actually starting to close in, the walls are starting to get thickened, the cell membranes, the walls of the walls of the follicle. It's starting to run out of time. This is where we get the female pattern balding from, and we call this stage telogen. Telogen. This is stage 3. Now, this is the resting stage. If those follicles are regenerated, like say for instance the male balding situation, that most males thinks that is hereditary, but I don't feel like it's the hereditary. I think that everything is always trying to regenerate itself, as long as we are giving it the right nutrients, the right minerals, and so those things can reopen. You need to reopen those follicles. Sometimes you cannot reopen those follicles if it's past the resting phase down here. And this really lasts for 6 months. Now, we have hormones inside of our body making certain reactions, that is stopping things from growing, telling things to die off. It's running through our bloodstream. And we have all these different enzymes that make reactions to convert hormones into other hormones and things that have a more affinity for certain receptors inside of our body. Now, we can really give accountability to the hormone or the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. 5-alpha reductase has the ability to convert a hormone, testosterone, which is a male hormone, into another hormone that actually kills off the follicle. So I wanted to demonstrate, as we look at our diagram, we can see that the bloodstream is right up under the papilla. And that's where we found out how the hair follicle gets its nutrients. So we're going to say these little cells are our testosterone. This is our testosterone. They are in our bloodstream and they come into our hair follicles. This is where actually, if this enzyme is really abundant inside of our bloodstream, then it can damage our hair follicles. So this converts over into more hormones that damage our hair follicles further, so we can't get any nutrients. And this is the responsibility of dihydrotestosterone. So this is all DHT. These are all DHT hormones that basically is responsible for your balding. And we call this whole cycle, the miniaturization cycle. This is where actually we get more duller miniaturization, more thinner hair, and more shorter hair. It starts to look like that peach fuzz that we see, and it seems as though we can never really grow back, but it's not hereditary. It's not hereditary. Now we have biomarkers that can give us the same feedback as our father's hair balding, or our mother having what they call androgenic alopecia, and that's only because of the foods and the diets that we consume. Now, it becomes these epidemic markers if you continue to eat how they ate. So the responsibility of all of those enzymes being made is made by those foods. So if we keep producing more 5-alpha reductase, we're going to continue to cut off our hair follicles from receiving its nutrients. Now, there are certain things that help kill those follicles off, and these are responsible for like the chemicals. And you don't actually know what they're doing to the chemicals or what chemicals are there, and we're going to go over what those chemicals are, and we're also going to go over how to restore those follicles to get the minerals that it needs to regrow. So let's get into the chemicals. All right, guys, we are back, and I'm so glad that I get a chance to teach you guys about all these different products and all these different things that have these chemicals in it. Because I know we look on the back of it, of this can or this bottle, the oil sheen and all these different things, and we wonder, like, my hairstylist used this stuff, and I can see it over here in this beauty salon and a beauty store, and they sell it, and I don't know what the back of this, what is this long word? What is this chemical that's put inside of here? So now I get to teach you guys on actually all of that telogen phases and all that female balding, male hair balding and all those things. Why you can't stay in that growing phase, why you can't stay in that androgen phase. So these are a list of the things that actually break down and destroy and start that phase of dying off and resting. Promoters are going to be the things that assist in breaking the hair, making it brittle, making it thin, making it dull. These are the promoters that are actually getting you to the part of dying off. So first of all, we know that we have a fungus. Everybody produces a fungus on their scalp. If they don't wash as regularly, even some of those chemicals like chlorine inside of the water will dry out the hair. Now, fungus is producing because fungus likes to grow in those fatty areas, you know, where the sebaceous gland. So we're going to talk about this dandruff called Malassezia. Malassezia, I want you to look it up. Malassezia is a fungus that grows on the scalp, coming from the sebum inside of that oily substance that the sebaceous gland secretes. Now, this is all over our scalp. This is all over our skin, and it may come out as psoriasis, it may come out as eczema, and this is where the fungus likes to grow, in that fatty, oily substance. Now, it can be disturbed and become very, very itchy, and this is where the sebaceous glands actually produce so much sebum, it flakes out and becomes red, and it becomes what they call seborrheic dermatitis, and it gets really clumpy like, you know. And we've seen this other fungus, and that fungus is called this long word, but you will look it up, Pityriasis steatoides. That is it's another fungus that stops that hair growth. Now, this is the severe case of dandruff, and it's really the accumulation of this greasy, waxy, scaly, and this is all from the scalp. It's mixed up with the sebum, and it likes to stick onto the scalp. So that's the medical terminology for this fungus that promotes the telogen phase. Now, we also have chemicals that we put on top of our hair, and that's what I want to really dig into. Other than this, because we can kill these things, we can kill those things with certain foods and herbs and things like that. We're gonna talk about everything that's natural. Now, the chemicals that basically promote the enzyme of that 5-alpha reductase and promote the thinning, the dulling, things that irritate the scalp, things that make it really dry, things that make it even break. So this one thing I want you to know. Okay. Avoid this chemical like the plague. It's called isopropyl. It's an alcohol. It is one of those things that breaks the hair. It's used in antifreeze. It's used in wood finishing and stuff like that. It's really a nasty alcohol that's being used to dissolve oils. And now, if you know it degrease things and dissolve oils, then what do you think it's going to do to your hair? All right, cool. So they use these in different hair gels and volumizers and hair sprays and substances that just hold the hair look, you know, that spritzed up look when you come from the hair salon. Those are the things you want to avoid like the plague. They actually break off the hair. Another chemical you need to stay away from. It's called sodium lauryl sulfate. Sodium lauryl, or sometimes laureth. You see the sulfite on the back. You need to avoid that like the plague, because that is actually what's making your hair really dry. It actually damages it and drying it all the way out. Like, it makes it shorter, makes it thinner. They even use these in engine degreasers and stuff like that. So you don't want to put that on no locks or anything, because it's gonna dry it all the way out. So avoid the sodium lauryl sulfate. You'll see that on the back of chemicals. You see that on the back of your some of the hair products that's out there, the skin products out there. Even some of the antibacterial soaps. You gotta watch that stuff. The hand lotions and things. Sodium lauryl sulfate dries it all the way out. All right. What's another one? Another one that irritates the scalp. This chemical is known as propylene glycol. This is one of these chemicals that actually irritates the scalp. This is when it can make the sebum dry all the way out. This is what's making it very, you get the itchies all the time right after you use this product, maybe a couple of hours afterwards. You find this in like some even shampoos, the hair dyes, some styling gels and things like that, hair lotions. They pretty much break down the hair structure at the root, and it stops even from getting that shine, because it irritates the scalp so much. It's also going to dry it out too. So we need to actually go natural, guys. We need to find out what we do know. So we're gonna talk about more of what can kill this fungus, what can make it, get away from these chemicals and be able to do those same things. Let's get into what the inhibitors do. We know that 5A reductase needs to be inhibited, needs to be blocked. We don't need to get that reductase because it's creating more than DHT. What are some things that will stop it? First of all, we got to get rid of the fungus. We got to clear the scalp of all of its impurities. So if there's something on the scalp that's stopping it from growing, or even those follicles being stimulated, you got to get rid of that fungus. That's the dandruff and things. So we don't use things like garlic. Garlic kills fungus. Garlic definitely will kill off all the fungus on there, any of the malacceas and things like that. It stimulates the hair growth. We have these disulfide bonds that we talked about, and that disulfide bonds gets bonded to another trace mineral like selenium, and it promotes the hairs to even grow again. And even another one in that alien family, we need to say onions. Onions is another great one because onions actually help that blood circulation, exfoliate those follicles, and it improves the collagen of your skin and your scalp by, with those sulfur bonds. These two with the sulfur bonds, the alien family, can definitely get rid of the fungus and stimulate hair growth. So you probably want to make some things to go with that. So make sure that garlic and onions is inside of those hair products. Now, I know you're saying, oh, those things stink, but you get the chance to wash those things out. Leave it on for about 10 minutes. You want to mix it with some ginger. Ginger, let's see you guys know. Mix it with some ginger because it increases the stimulation. It also is anti-inflammatory because these things like to come back. These things that make it really, really itch, and then the chemicals that you were using that got settled in that really makes it itch, it's anti-inflammatory. Ginger makes it anti-inflammatory, and this ginger is also antifungal. So ginger is a good thing to use with that compound that we're making right now. Now, my men and my women that have this androgenic alopecia or just male pattern balding, you never really go bald all the way up there. You get this peach fuzz up there, so it has the ability to grow back. So you want to start consuming things like pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds has been shown in research to inhibit 5-alpha reductase up to 35%. So you're gonna write down pumpkin seeds. Even if you had some pumpkin seed powder, actually, I sell pumpkin seed powder. It can be used in the paste to build up the external exfoliation of those this product that we're building right now. We're building a product of all the inhibitors that will stop hair loss. Another one of my main products that can inhibit this enzyme, and it has been shown in many studies and shown that many people can regrow their hair just by using this herb. This herb is called saw palmetto. Saw palmetto inhibits 5-alpha reductase. Plenty of studies have shown it. So we have went over how you can grow your hair back. These things are found in what I use personally, and have been given to certain testers and been shown results within about 2 months. You can tell by everyday usage, by using garlic and onions as an overnight thing. Put something on top of your hair at night so these things don't. Use oils, use the good oils like avocados, because this is fat. It needs to be nourished. The sebaceous glands have to be nourished, the follicles have to be nourished. Use things like argan and jojoba oil. Have you people ever heard of jojoba oil? If you haven't, please find that oil. It's a good nutrient for make it yourself. Good nutrients for the sebaceous glands up there. So exfoliate your follicles. Use tea tree oil if you haven't, to get rid of that fungus, that pityriasis and things like that. There's a lot of things that you can do, but you have to make some careful considerations of. And if you can't eat it, don't put it on your hair. That's all I really got to say. I'm glad you guys came to listen on this hair, chemistry of hair. Thank you guys. I hope you got a chance to learn everything that you need to know. But this is pretty much the biochemistry. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.